Hello everybody and welcome to the World's Worst Let's Play tier list edition. So here's the deal. Hear me out. I stopped recording everything for about 3 weeks to play Pikmin 4. I did that, but in the process of me doing that, I then got sick. And I'm still not super recovered, but I'm running out of time to record things and not miss an entire week of recording. So I thought, what better way, so I don't want to record a whole bunch of stuff, than to just do something easy, something fun, something interesting to me at least. And I thought, I like all the Zelda games, or at least the ones I've played. Let's rank them. Let's see what truly is my favorite, because I think I know, but I've never actually thought it out. So let's just do the thing. You got the board here, you got the games there, so let's just, I don't know how long this is gonna be, but we're gonna lengthen out my weeks of recordings so that I can catch up, because fun fact, in a couple days I'm actually going on vacation for a week and a half, so I won't be able to record for that time either. So I'm just trying to catch up with myself and just take tonight to record a couple fun, interesting things. So let's just get started here. Starting with the original, The Legend of Zelda. The very first one on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm going to say this one is a solid, I'm going to go B tier, because I really like that it's like you do it all yourself. I would put it in A, but it's so hard. It's so hard to like focus and figure out what you're supposed to do without any help whatsoever. I've tried it and I've given up every single time. Like, I don't give up on the game, but I like look up a guide. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. And it's like, bomb this one specific spot that you would never need to. It's like, how did people do this before? How did people know how to do this? And it's just nuts to me that people would do this. Like, absolutely insane to me. Because if it was just a little bit clearer on what you're supposed to do, it would be A rank for sure. Because it's still fun, it's challenging, and it's a good time. If you haven't played it before, I highly recommend it. I recommend all these games. Most of the games. Like, for example, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, is going in solid F tier because it is... I've played it. I've played it all the way through. I've beaten it. And only through save states and rewind on the Nintendo Switch Online was I able to beat this thing, because it is hard. It's challenging. It's completely unfair at times, and the level up system is just flawed. It's not great. It's really not great. So that's solid F tier. A Link to the Past. Honestly, I greatly enjoy this game. I want to put it in S, but I want to save something else for S. But like, A Link to the Past is solid. Like, I go back. I've played it maybe 3 times, and I'm never like, yeah, I'm not crazy about this game. Like, I'm always like, yeah, this is fun. I enjoy it. So I'm gonna put it up in S tier for sure. Nope, I lied. It's gonna go to A. I don't know. It's definitely either S or A. I'm sure a lot of people were like, obviously it's gonna be S tier. Super Nintendo, 16-bit, like one of the most cherished games. I don't know. I enjoy it. I'm not a 2D person. I'm just really not. The top down's cool. The gameplay is fun. I like the dungeons. I'm sticking in A. It's gonna stick with A. That's all there is to it. It's gonna stick with A. I like that there's 2 worlds. It's fun. The graphics are just so quality. That 16-bit juiciness is wonderful. Link's Awakening. I have only played the DX version on my 3DS Virtual Console. I have not played the new one that was released on Switch. I don't know if I ever will, because I really don't feel like rebuying the same game over and over again. But that being said, Link's Awakening, honestly, I'm gonna put it in solid A tier, because I greatly enjoyed that game. I really did. I had a lot of fun with it. It was neat. It was a nice little encapsulated adventure, and I think this is the one with that little fish guy who dances around, and that was just top tier quality content. Loved every minute of it. Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64. I'm gonna put this in B tier because I just, well, I'll put it in A tier. It's still a fun game to play. It's still really fun. Not as fun as A Link to the Past. There's like no story to it. It's like you wake up as a kid, you go do the thing. It's fun, but it's not the greatest. Like, I think it's highly overrated. I know I'm gonna be like totally shunned for this, but it's just, I've only played it a couple times, whereas there are so many others where I've played over and over and over again. In Ocarina of Time, I get to certain points and I'm like, ugh, this part is awful. Like, the water temple is horrible. The fire temple is horrible. Just saving a bunch of gore. Nobody wants to do that. The spirit temple as a child, and then you have to come back. It's boring. Like, there are so many things about this. Like, good on them. They did the 3D thing for the first time, and they definitely did the 3D thing for the first time because it's just not super great. So we're gonna put it a solid A. Majora's Mask, S tier for sure. I absolutely love when Zelda games go dark and mysterious. I love time constraints because that, like, Pikmin is like one of my favorite series, and that's like based on time frame. Well, at least some of them are. And I love that concept of like you have to help people to get anywhere in the world, and that's just so true to life in general. It's just help people out, they'll help you, you get along and you save the world, something like that craziness. And it's just dark. The whole thing is just so depressing, and I don't know why, but I love that. It makes me so happy. Like I said, I'm still sick. It's great. It's a great time. It's a great time. Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. This one is solid A tier. Actually going above Ocarina of Time and Zelda Link's Awakening because I loved this game. Again, I played both Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages on my 3DS through the Virtual Boy for Game Boy Color, and I really liked these ones, like especially the Subrosia levels. It's been a couple years since I played it, but I remember really enjoying it for some reason. Like, everything about it was just so like, wow, this is so much fun. And I can't remember what stuck out other than the Subrosians for some reason. Really, I liked that a lot. I don't know why. And that being said, Oracle of Ages, I'm just putting in B tier because I didn't really care as much for it. Like, I don't know why. I don't remember like, this one is based on seasons. I realize I'm not even explaining these games that much. Like, in case you've never played them, you are not going to get a good idea of what they are at all. Let's see. You start in a thing for the original, and then you go save a princess. This one, you start with the princess, but have to go collect Triforce. Yeah. This one, gotta go save the princess, fight the bad guy. Save the princess, fight the bad guy. Wake up a giant fish. It's all a dream. That's a good time. Yeah. Talk to a tree. He tells you to go save the princess. That's important detail. Guy steals your musical instrument and you have to go get it back while also saving a made-up world that's gonna die from the moon. That'll sum it up. These ones, you're actually not saving a princess. You're going after one of like the goddesses. I think this one is Din and this one is Nehru, I want to say. And it's a neat concept. Anyway, and you travel through time. Basically with both of them. In the seasons, you travel through the seasons, like winter, spring, fall, and different things change based on what season you're in. And it's pretty much the exact same thing as time travel. Like, because this one just goes through past, future, and present. Like, it's the same concept spread across two games. But what's really cool about these games is if you play through both of them, it gives you a code. And then whichever one you play second, you can enter a code. And it's like, hey, you can actually continue the story with everything combined. And you get to carry things over. And maybe that's why I didn't care for Ages as much. Because I already had everything from seasons carried over. I don't know. There's different stuff for both. Like, they're both completely different, but like the same. And I don't know. I really like Seasons better. You got to get that Subrosian. I think there was a dance at some point, and that maybe drew me in. I don't know. I don't know. I like dancing in games. It's fine. Four Swords, never played it. Because if you don't know what that is, Nintendo was crazy. And they were like, hey, let's do a Game Boy Advance release of Link to the Past. But we're going to throw in this cool multiplayer adventure called Four Swords. We're going to introduce a whole new idea, a whole new villain. But the trick is you have to play it with 4 people. That's the only way you can play it. And I don't even have the game to begin with. And 2, I don't have friends. I don't have anyone to play these things with. So I've never played it. I never will play it. I don't even know if I'll watch a playthrough of it. Because it's just... If you know the story of them fighting this guy with a sword that splits you into 4 personalities, it's weird. It's not super important to any other games other than like maybe 2. And it's just, I'm sorry, it's not worth my time. So sorry, but it's just, I don't care. Wind Waker, absolutely S tier. Absolutely S tier. Not as good as Zelda Majora's Mask, but absolutely S tier. I still remember... So, my first ever Zelda game was Twilight Princess. That will become very evident when I immediately put it at the top of my list. But, for now, let's focus. And I bought it off of my friend. He also had Wind Waker. And I was like, hey, I'll buy that off of you as well. He's like, sure, 20 bucks. I'm like, heck yes. And I remember playing it on the GameCube. And the first time you get to free sail was like... the coolest thing. You just have a giant ocean and you're just on a little sailboat and you just go and explore, and it is freaking awesome. I love the sense of adventure. Like Breath of the Wild people rave about because it's open world, but like so was Wind Waker in a way where you could just start and just sail and find places all on your own, and you can talk to a little fish man who's like, blah, 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 shoot me with arrows, blah, here's a map, because I can draw maps with my mouth. It's crazy, and it's so good. I love that game so much, and it's cartoony in the best of ways. Link is like the most expressive he's ever been, and I know a lot of people gave it flack when it first came out, but like, I played many years after that. I'm talking like I was in high school, so we're talking like 2010, probably when I played it. And I think it came out in like 2006 or something like that. So like I played it long after it came out, and I freaking loved it. It was awesome because it's just so cool that you could just explore and find things on your own, and you get to backtrack and everything. And then they re-released it on the Wii U, and I bought the HD version, and they made it better. And I really want to play that game again. It's so good, and the story. The story is pretty cool too, and this is why I haven't been recording, because I knew as soon as I'd talk a whole lot, my voice would just shatter to a million pieces. But like the story is what I really focus on in a game, and that's why I really don't care about Ocarina of Time as much, because it's just like there's not very many connections that Link makes, really. Whereas in Majora's Mask, like every single person you meet, you're like, I have a connection with this person now because I've done something with them. Rather than Ocarina of Time, it's just like, hey, random kid, why don't you go save people? It's just, I don't know. It hits different. I don't know. So after Four Swords, they released Four Swords Adventure for the GameCube. And it's the similar art style as Game Boy Advance, but they did a really weird thing with this. I don't know where I'm putting this yet. So you can play with 4 people, but you have to have 4 Game Boy Advance link cables. For some reason, they decided they were going to put a Zelda game on a home console that has 4 controllers and say, no, you have to use Game Boy Advance link cables, which I have 1 of, and you got to use 4 of them if you want to play with 4 people. It's like, why though? Why'd you do like each person can control 1 link? Because the whole thing is that you have what's called the 4 sword, and you split into 4 personalities again. You know, fighting Vadi, the new bad guy. But like, why would you do that? Like, you could just use 4 controllers on the same screen, and it would make so much more sense. Because like you enter caves and things, and it goes into like a little screen pops up with Game Boy Advance SP. It's so weird. I enjoyed it, but not a whole lot, honestly. It's gonna go in D tier. Like, it's just so weird. And maybe if I could have played it with all 4 people, it would have been a blast, I'm sure. But who has 4 link cables or 3 friends that are like, yeah, I'm willing to sit down and play a 20-hour game with you? No! That's just wild. Absolutely nonsense. I swear. It's crazy how I got this, because I had a neighbor in high school who didn't like me, like, at all. Like, we were just neighbors. We had to ride the bus together, and that was pretty much it. Like, that was it. And she was like, hey, I know you like Zelda. Do you want this game? I'm like, sure. She's like, here you go. I'm like, oh, cool. Thanks. And that is such a weird time. It's just, the whole thing about this game is just weird to me. How I own it, how I played it, how it's supposed to be played. It's just weird. All right, it's D tier. Minish Cap. I haven't played Minish Cap. I've played through the first dungeon of Minish Cap, and then decided to stop playing on an emulator and bought it from my Wii U, which I have yet to have time to play. So I cannot rank it. From what I have played, it's cool. You get to shrink down into a little tiny person, and you get to experience a secondary world again, you know, like Zelda's all about secondary worlds. And it's kind of cool, but I haven't played it enough to truly rank it. So maybe it'll be like solid B tier, A, maybe even S. I doubt it, but hey, you never know. Like, I don't know. Okay, so hear me out. Twilight Princess, favorite game of all time. You know why? Probably because it was my first Zelda game. So let me take you back to the moment. I'm over at my friend's house. This kid's just a jerk. All right, he's a total jerk. He knows it. It's whatever. And he's like, hey, I got this new game for my Wii. I'm gonna play it, and you can watch. I'm like, yeah, cool, sure. The only time I ever heard of Link or Zelda is playing Melee. All right, like Super Smash Bros. Melee. Didn't know anything about the story. Didn't know nothing. I knew, like, of the characters from a completely different franchise, okay? He pulls this up, and you start in this little rinky-dink town as this teenage boy. And I was like, okay, interesting. The first thing you do in the game is go fishing with a little fishing pole. Freaking love that. I absolutely love fishing in video games. You'd think I'd like it more in Ocarina of Time. I don't. I don't know. Don't question me. But you go fishing. And you're like, oh, I gotta help this town. And then it just goes from there. And I don't know what about Twilight Princess that grabs me so well, but it blew my mind to watch this guy play it. I watched him play clear up to the first dungeon, and I was like, can I start a file? And he's like, yeah, totally, go ahead, start a file. And so I played through up to the second dungeon, and I was like, I need to buy this game. He's like, we can't buy this copy. I was like, all right, that's cool. I'll buy one from the store. So I went out and bought one. I lied earlier. I said I bought it from him. I did not. I bought it from the store, the Wii version, which I didn't know at the time was the wrong version, because the game actually came out for GameCube and Wii, and it was actually mirrored, because in all the games, this is going on a wild tangent, but in the games, Link is left-handed. But to do the Wii, they were like, you swing with the right hand, so they mirrored the entire game, because that's how you make it a right-handed Link. Wild, I know. So I played through the entire Wii version a third time I saw this intro, and I loved it every single time. Something about this game, and I think it's the story, because it's not just, hey, go do this thing. It's like, hey, he is a person that actually lives in this world. Like, he lives. He has a job. He's a goat herder. Like, of all things. And, like, you have to herd the goats. Like, it makes you feel, like, more real for this character. There's, like, an actual, like, baseline here. And then his friends get, like, kidnapped. And then he gets transformed into a wolf. You get to be a dog. I freaking love that. I know some people were like, why is that exciting? It's like, because you get to be a dog. Who doesn't love dogs? And you can just bark, bark, bark. It's cool. It's fun. I love it so much. Like, I don't know what it is about. And it's dark. It's just like Majora's Mask and how it's just dark and depressing and everything's great. I can't wait to play on the channel. But it's truly one of my favorite games, if not my favorite all-time game. And I don't want to just blow it all away like and just to play. I don't know. I just freaking love this game, okay? The story is great. The battles are epic and fun. And it's just the right amount of challenging. Like, I don't know. And maybe it's just because it's my first Zelda game where I'm like blinded by nostalgia of like, this is Zelda? This is how you play? I don't know. But I freaking love this game. Like, this will always be my favorite. When I hear the Hyrule Field theme just kick in, just a wave of like, this is Zelda to me. Like, I don't know. It's so good to me. I love it so much. Even though it's so long to start, and there are some points where I'm like, yeah, it's kind of lame, but like at the same time, I'm like, I'm still having fun though. I'm still enjoying every minute of this game. Like, I just love it. I want to play it. So I want to play it again. Phantom Hourglass. D tier. Definitely D tier. You know, I'll put it in C. I don't remember a lot about it. I remember you have to control everything with the stylus. This was on the DS. So every movement Link makes, you have to guide him with the stylus. You have to hold the screen. You have to move him around the screen. To attack, you have to like swipe. And that was weird. And then you get into this ocean temple, right? Where you have to fight off these people and go into safe areas, and it turns into like Metal Gear Solid kind of crap. And it's really different. Okay? And then you got the sailing aspect again, but it's not as fun. Because, like, it's on paths that you have to take. But I will give it credit where credit is due. This is why it's C and not D. They tried things that were super different with this game. Like, at one point, they're like, we have to put a stamp on the map. And it took me literal 10 minutes to figure out what I was supposed to do. And it's crazy. Because when I played DS games, when you play normal DS games, if you close the DS, it pauses your game and freezes it in place until you open it again. I always thought that was pretty cool. This game, when you close it, it like blinks. Like it wouldn't pause. It would just keep trying to play. I'm like, well, that's really weird. Why does it do that? So at that point in the game, when you're supposed to stamp the map, you have to close the DS and open it, and it stamps it. And I was like, that all makes so much more sense now. That's wild. And like you had the bottom screen as your maps, you could draw on it. You could draw like little notes. Like if you had to do switches in a certain order, you could be like 1 over here, 2 over here. And that's cool. I really like that aspect of it. But the overall story, again, is really weird. It's all about, it takes place after Wind Waker. And you're going to find a new world. And Zelda, again, Tetra in this case, gets kidnapped. Go figure, by pirates. And so you have to go get her back. But you have to do it by helping some old fish man thing. And it gets really weird. I'm not going to go into super much depth, but it's weird. It's it's not a great story, but yeah, C tier. Definitely C tier. Spirit Tracks, also C tier, but like down here C tier. Like it's only behind here because I have nothing else in C tier, but like it should definitely go like over here more. So what if you played Zelda and instead of riding a horse around to each different island or a boat, you just had train tracks for some reason and you rode a train? That's basically what Spirit Tracks is. Like it's literally train tracks that you get to drive. You see, we got a little choo-choo whistle, which is awesome. I love that. I freaking love that. But it's really annoying to get from point A to point B when you have designated tracks and you can't cut across them. You have to follow these paths. And then you add in that there's little bunny mini games that you gotta do with a weird dude in a bunny suit. Real weird dude. And like if they improved on Phantom Hourglass, because I don't think you have to control with the stylus anymore. So that was a great improvement. But the main, they introduced an instrument in this one. It's a pan flute. And the only way to play it is to blow into the microphone, and it just doesn't work. It just, I literally spent an hour one day just trying to play a like 3-note song because it just wouldn't register, and I got so mad. I was like, I hate this game with a passion. But the train saves it. I like the train. I love the train. I hate the train. The train is just a thing, and I can't ever tell if I love it or hate it. I am very confused, mixed feelings, C tier, but like bottom C tier. That's just all there is to it. Skyward Sword. I've played this on my channel. If you haven't seen my playthrough, you should, because it's a great one. So, I'm going to put it in A tier, and I'm going to put it above... No, I'm going to leave it right here, actually. I remember playing Seasons and really enjoying it. So it is A tier for me because I really liked it. The story is great because it really focuses on like how everything really kicks off in the whole lore of Zelda, and I am all about lore and like history. I love it with a passion. So that was really cool. Motion controls, I didn't have a lot of issues. I mean, you could watch my whole playthrough, like it's 92 episodes or something, like it's long, but it's worth it. I think I enjoy it, but there are also only like 3 areas which are really dumb. Like literally any other game has way more than that. So to limit a Zelda game to really only like 4 areas is just insane to me. And on top of that, with like, it was a very new premise of like flying around, and it feels okay, but it's definitely could use some improvements on just about everything about it. It introduces a lot of really cool characters that you literally never see again. And the more I'm thinking about it, the more I actually really want to put it on up a little bit higher. If I could ever get Photoshop to listen, I'm gonna actually put it right there, because I do enjoy it. It's a good time. I'll even move Ocarina of Time up a little bit. All right, I remember more about it than I do Seasons, but that's not changing. But like I like it, and I haven't played the HD remake because it didn't seem like they added a whole lot to it, other than like you can now control it, but I feel like that ruins it. Like being able to control the sword movements is pivotal through the whole thing, and I don't know. I hate how small it is. Let's just go. That's like my only gripe. The smallness of the levels. If they were like much more expanded, you didn't have to revisit everything twice, I think I'd like it a lot more. But yeah, go watch my playthrough of it. It's highly entertaining. Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. This takes place chronologically after A Link to the Past, and I enjoyed it. But I don't remember a lot about it, honestly. I'm gonna throw it in B tier because I enjoyed it. The whole going through walls thing is pretty cool, but I feel like I got kind of bored with it about halfway through, honestly. I feel like the coolness of it kind of wore off because it was literally just a reskin. Not a reskin. It was literally the same world as A Link to the Past, but in a different art style, and you could go on the walls now. Like, I don't know. If I'm gonna play a game, I'm probably just gonna play Link to the Past again. Like that's kind of how I felt about it. It was cool, but it's still a 2D Zelda, like where you top down Zelda. It's just not my thing, and that stupid chicken game can just burn. I hated that part of it. And that's really all I have to say about that. There was also a baseball game. It was kind of weird. All right, they made some weird choices with this one, and that's just where it's gonna stay. Triforce Heroes. Again, I don't have friends, so I'm not gonna play a game specifically designed around multiplayer. Why do they keep doing this to Zelda? I will never know. Like I remember the trailer for it coming out, and I'm like, oh, okay. So you're this kid, one of 3. That work together to make it through like missions. It's not even like a game to play through like a story. It's you have to save this town because they're running out of fashion or something. It's really weird. You wear different costumes that give you different powers, and you have to go through like one-off like little missions. And I've watched a playthrough of like half the game, and I'm like, this is dumb. I'm glad I didn't buy this because this is dumb. This is just, I do not like it at all. I could probably put it in F tier and not even feel bad not playing it, but I haven't played it, so I'm gonna have to not rate it. But like, it's an F. It's 100% an F. Breath of the Wild. I've played this game on this channel in Master Mode, 100% completed, regular mode. That being said, I'm definitely sticking it up into S tier because it is absolutely amazing. The first time playing that is unmatched from anything you've ever done. The second time playing in Master Mode was unmatched because it was such a different experience. Just having to relearn everything. And it's just fun to be able to do whatever you want and to enjoy your time doing it. It's just fun, you know? Like, I still remember when the trailer came out for it. It was mind-blowing. The game came out, and I played it on Wii U, and it's just fun to be able to do. If you haven't watched my playthrough, go watch it. It's like 100-something episodes, but like the DLC is included in it as well, so like it's extra padded of like 20 episodes, but still, it's fun. Okay, you can do whatever you want. You can get totally distracted, and nothing matters. You just have fun. Koroks, go screw yourselves. But that's all I'm gonna say about that, because it's just, go watch my playthrough. You'll get my opinion on it a lot, like a lot. And of course, the sequel to Breath of the Wild is Tears of the Kingdom, which I have recently played, whereas this is like what, August, and it came out in like March. So I've not 100% completed it. I'm torn, honestly. I really feel like I like them equally, because Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom both had an instant factor of like, wow, this is an open world Zelda, really cool. The main difference is that Tears of the Kingdom, same overworld, but changed a little bit. Then they included the sky, which is like, okay, Skyward Sword, not super great because there's no real way to transport yourself around or traverse the area. So it's like, okay, that's cool, but unnecessary in my opinion. But then they added the depths. And sorry, spoilers if you haven't played it. You can go underground and it's the whole entire map, but reverse. And it's my favorite part of the game. Like, you have to throw light blooms everywhere to light your way, and there's stuff that tries to kill you, and it added the stress that I love. Like, I hate being stressed out, but in games, for some reason, it triggers something in my brain to be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. To be stressed out while I'm playing. I don't know why I'm like this, but like, that's straight up how I felt about it. I was like, this is so cool. I feel challenged, and I love this, and I just want to explore. I just want to find everything. I want to uncover the whole map. And that's what I did. Like, a good portion of my playtime is just in the depths before I even touched the overworld. And the reason I'm torn of where to place these is because I 100% completed Breath of the Wild. Like, outfits, everything. Like, 100% completed it. Tears of the Kingdom, I have not even touched, like, half of the Koroks. I have not upgraded all my stuff, because in that one it's way harder to upgrade stuff, because it costs way too much money. And like, I did almost everything 100%. Like, I got all the frogs. If I get all the Koroks, I will have 100%. Basically, other than like outfits. I've done almost everything in that game. It's just, I don't have the motivation. The shrines are a lot easier. The abilities they give you in the original Breath of the Wild, in Breath of the Wild, are so tied to combat. Whereas in Tears of the Kingdom, they're so tied to exploration. So I love the combat in Breath of the Wild mixed with the exploration. Whereas Tears of the Kingdom, I love the exploration, but the combat's just not really there for me as much. It's still fun, but it's not as fun as fighting things in Breath of the Wild, if that makes sense. I plan to eventually, when Master Mode comes out, and after a while, I might play it on the channel. I don't know yet, just because it is such a huge game, and it took up so much of my time. And like, there's just, I don't know, the story is just not as, no, I take it back. I take that back. The story for Tears of the Kingdom is really good. I actually teared up at a couple points. I won't spoil anything because it's a pretty big spoiler. But there are parts where I was like, are you kidding me? This is happening right now? And like, my eyes were like watering, and I'm like, what is happening right now? This is crazy. And so for that reason, I do rank it higher than Breath of the Wild. I enjoyed it more, I feel like. But they're both S-tier games, just because I could play them over and over again and still have a wonderful time, because they will never be the same experience over and over again. Like, whereas all the other ones are straightforward games, you know what you're going to do, you just might change the order a little bit. Nah, these games, you do whatever you want, whenever you want. You can just go straight to the thing. It's completely different. It's wild. I love Zelda, guys. I really do. It's my favorite series as a whole. I've never actually thought about each game ranked like this, but this makes sense. I'm pretty comfortable with this. Like, the Dark and Brooding one's right up front. the exploration ones right here in the top, and then you get your more classic Zeldas, maybe with these kind of as an exception, but like, I don't know, I like these. I like this list. This is a good list. And only one in F tier. Only 2 in F tier. Like, that's not bad. And this one, honestly, if I have to rank it, I'm probably gonna put it in B when I play it. And I feel pretty solid about that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think and what's your favorite Zelda game, and tell me a story. Tell me what your first Zelda game was, what your experience was with it. I love hearing what people think about it and how it's just evolved over time. Like, to imagine we started with an open world game and it's come to this. Like, it's wild how we've taken so many directions in Zelda. They try so many new things. I mean, this one has a freaking train. This one has 4 people that you can control with friends. Like, the amount of variety in Zelda games, people say Zelda's all the same, but it's really not. Like, you can have such a different experience depending on which one you play. And honestly, it can either like kick you off from the whole series or really just draw you in. But like Twilight Princess, it's so good. I freaking love the music is good. Everything about you can be a dog. That's like the best thing in the world. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's something very different than what I normally do, and I'm gonna try to get this out the Friday of this week, even though it's not recorded anywhere close to when I was recording other things. But that's just how the schedule be doing nowadays. So love that. Like, comment, subscribe, guys, to help me get to like a number of subscribers. Help me get that grind, you know. I've recorded this for way too long now, so I'm gonna skedaddle on off of here and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.